That's the facts as I know them. We unraveled things pretty good and took it apart and put it back together. And that's basically how the cow ate the cabbage. And so we want to go forward. We think that this COG has value and future benefit for our region, and so that's our request to you tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Mr. Blanchard.
Mr. Wright, this money that was misappropriated was from the RLF, the Revolving Loan Fund, right?
Yes, sir.
That was a $300,000 project, right? Now, they want to be paid back. Are they going to take that away, or we can't lend it out anymore?
I think temporarily they will. I think they want to put it on an account they have access to, so that tells me they're going to suck it out. And
that's bad.
Yeah, and it has served such a great benefit by being able to loan it out, and so I believe that if we're diligent and restore it reasonably quick, they won't take those measures, but I have no guarantee.
Also, you know, this one-time assessment, is that going to be, I mean, going forward, you took it from the RLF, or you didn't, but to fund expenses from the general fund?
Yes, current operations.
Now, okay, now, I know you cut $218,000 in cuts.
And we brought the current operations back within the assessment fees and budget, so to speak.
So it balances now?
Yes, sir. That was the first thing we had to do, stop the bleeding, or we were. And we were bleeding pretty bad. And what was actually happening from a layman's standpoint, looking at the audit and the balance sheet report, there were receivables there in the balance sheet that created net assets. And of course, net assets creates fund balance. And so it was looking like fund balance, but there were intangible assets in the form of prepaids and receivables that were bogus. They were bad. We had exceeded, they had exceeded the overbilling for each of the contracts, but it still left the receivable there. So it appeared to a layman looking at the statements that there was money coming in.
But that's not criminal?
That's criminal. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, that's...
Certainly there was a lack of due diligence in monitoring the receivables and the prepaids to make sure you had the underlying support for them. There's no question about that. According to our attorney, he says that there's nothing criminal in looking at the situation, and I have to go on his word.
Why would the EDA say that they're going to send down a special prosecutor or whatever, investigator? I mean, that,
in light of what Mr. Wright has reported, and as I serve on the COG board, that information did not come to light to the board until October, until after the past executive director had left the position, and it was brought to the attention of the board by the auditing firm. We brought it to our attention, and upon that presentation that the efforts were put into effect to make sure that the COG was operating in a way that indeed that reflected the accounting procedures that would be acceptable. Now, as far as the one-time assessment, the focus on the one-time assessment is to, of course, to bring this up to snuff with the EDA, and then from that point, of course, the regular assessments for the county will remain as what they were previously, and to set up a system that it can be repaid over a certain period of time to the counties for the assessment within the national community.
well, I think we need to talk about this in the budget.
No. We've got, what, 3 or 4 million extra dollars in requests, and we have revenues to cover right now? You know, I agree, but we need to wait on that. One other question. You said all this come to light after the director got gone. Didn't I hear you say that? Was anybody investigating him? I mean, that's funny.
Well, the
director you go on, that's when all the money gets missed.
Questions that I've raised as well, and of course that's where we move forward. The issue right now, of course, is I understand with the EDA whether or not we can continue to operate as a COG. I'm extent of, like, $0.61 return, $61 return on each dollar that we have invested, because that's something that's hard to give up. Look at the grant applications that and monies that we received for the roads, for instance, at the project for Triangle North.
We did that, Franklin County got that grant.
Well,
Wrote that grant.
we were part, the COG was a part of it.
But we did most of the work.
Without call.
Is the former director, is he not bonded? Or is he not being more held accountable for this?
Certainly he's bonded, but I don't know that there's any demands that can be made upon him according to our attorney. And so, of course, as a finance director involved with the COG, and the former executive director was the previous finance officer for the COG, and so when he moved from the finance officer to be the executive director, it appears that there were some financial functions that he never relinquished. And so there is some question as we look at this and analyze it as to who was really responsible for certain functions in providing the oversight. And so
Looks like you need to call in an investigation to really get everything straight on that, though, for the public and everything else. A lot of maybes and uncertainties.
Mr. Chairman, is the COG audited by a firm every year?
yes, sir. Been the
You know,
same.
a lot of us on boards depend on the expertise of an auditing firm, not necessarily to say that the numbers are right or wrong, but it appears to me that they should have recognized that when you got receivables that are uncollectible, that they should have been a different accounting.
What sort of testing did they do?
Beg pardon?
I said, what sort of testing did they do on the receivables is what you're getting at, I assume.
Yes, sir. I would think that the COG in the future needs to talk to their folks who do the auditing for them too. Those are the kinds of things that would upset me if I was on that board. And of course, it upsets me because Franklin County, we are the COG, part of the COG. And so those safeguards, we're supposed to be safeguarding and safeguarding twice, you know, and that bothers me is that the accounting firm, in my opinion, didn't do all they have. Not that the numbers weren't correct under accounts receivable, but if they're uncollected, I would think there should be another column somewhere, a different type.
And of course, Mr. May, you know, those are issues that indeed that we, the board, has raised as well. And moving forward, those are certainly the issues that should be addressed. You know,
There are certain options still on the
accounting
table.
firm itself, you know, is in question as far as I'm concerned.
Ms. Wright, question. Mentioned about 61 to 1 $1 received 5-year period. Do you have any notes at all about the money Franklin County received back from that time?
No, some $4 million of that was in the aging program, and another $4 million was in the workforce development. And so you receive sizable shares of each of those two programs. And so for the most part, it comes per capita in those two major programs there. And so I don't know exactly what Franklin.
I don't think about the citizens understand the per capita rate that they spoke about the rural area of the county on the corporate.
Well, it's based on the total population of the county. Franklin County has more members in the county, percentage-wise, and less in the city than the other counties. Your municipalities are low in population compared, and so.
We have one rural area, right?
We have a large population. You know, through the COG, Mr. Jones, the COG have prepared grants totaling $734,000 to U.S. Department of Homeland Security for 5 departments in Advance County, Franklin County. Also assisted Franklin County with preparation and administration of the needs $743,000 in grants for EDA, $900 from North Carolina Department of Transportation. And those are just some of them, as he just mentioned, workforce development, of course, that was also brought through the COG. Whenever there's plants closings in Franklin County, of course, workforce development helps in the replacement of at-risk workers. Also, in hazard mitigation plans,